wherever they are coming from. So you see that these neglect at home and the violence that attended to it has scared people away. So all I'm promising you is that the Southeast will be scanty this period. Already, we have seen that there is a popular businessman in Navy and actually another one in Anambra who have in the past 2 months done their traditional marriages of their daughters in Lagos. Today, there are no festive or big events happening in the Southeast because people are afraid of their security. Even if you can guarantee your own security, can you guarantee the security of all your guests who you are going to invite? And everybody who you are going to invite to a program in the Southeast will ask you and rightly so about the security. So one, you're scaring away investors, you're scaring away businesses, and if you push this to a long run, you could begin to imagine the kind of damage it will do to the Southeast. And for as of today, the Southeast is not in the civil service. I'm talking about federal civil service. The Southeast is not in the parliamentary agencies. I mean, when I say not in, I'm not saying that in absolute terms. I'm saying that in comparative terms, meaning that we don't have enough showing there. We also don't have enough showing in political power, except by the mercy of God in the elections of 2023 turns things around. And then we have economy as our mainstay, right? And then this economy that is our mainstay is what Simon Ekpa, is what his IPOB, is what his Biafra. I don't even know if they're pursuing Biafra because this is not Biafra, right? Because we are all Biafrans, and we say that what they are pursuing is different from Biafra. But these people seem to be on a deliberate mission to sabotage the only thing the Southeast is holding, which is the economic power. And if they ever sabotage this economic power, the average Southeasterner, the average Biafran will be left with nothing, no political power, no civil service, no public service, and no economic power. And people should begin to query the intentions of Simon Ekpa and all his cohorts who are rolling their mouth all in the name of Biafra. They are not pursuing Biafra. What they are pursuing is the destruction of Biafra land.
Now, what when you refer to a geographic location that's located in Nigeria as Biafra land, what do you mean by Biafra land and Biafran people? Because as it is, Biafra is not a recognized state, is not a recognized nation, and this agitation for cessation, what do you hope to gain? Because this is what people have said, that the average Easterner had supported the Biafra agitation, and that's why today it has turned into a beast that is eating up its own people. Don't you think that that's an issue that needs to be addressed?
Make no mistake about this. In UK, the United Kingdom, there are people who are still pushing, now that they've gotten their Brexit, there are people who are still pushing for an independent state in, I think, Ireland, right? I think so, Nicola Sturgeon and her group. As of today, there are people who are pushing, Catalonians are pushing to break away from the mother country, right? And then even in the United States, these questions are being asked, right? So the unity of any nation is an ongoing negotiation. That the unity of Nigeria is an ongoing negotiation, and the federal government and its ancillary organs or its other federating units are negotiating the unity through every government project, through every government program, and through every government policy. So it is a continuous negotiation of what is Nigeria going to look like, what is it today, how are we going to manage this for optimal results. If that is that, then we have a history. There was a 3-year civil war, and for 3 years we were all Biafrans, all of us. All of us were all Biafrans, including people who were not born at that time. We were all Biafrans through our parents. Now the civil war has ended, and it ended the way it is. And as of today, we find ourselves in a geographical enclave called Nigeria, and Nigeria has our allegiance. However, Biafra as a spirit, Biafra as an identity has not died. This is the aspiration of people. So do not ever equate Biafra with IPOB or with Nnamdi. Nnamdi Kanu is a different entity. Simon Ekpa is a different entity. IPOB, myself, or whatever groups, they are different entities distinct from Biafra as an ideology, or distinct from Biafra as an ideal state. Or, by the way, Biafra is not just going to be located as a geographical enclave. Biafra represents freedom, equality, equity, fairness, and all of the noble aspirations you find if Nigeria happens to go beyond all of its mismanagement and comes into the society that every part of Nigeria, every cultural part of Nigeria will feel proud to be a Nigerian. then that is Biafra in the making. So Biafra is not just identified as a geographical thing. When we say, oh, now we have a different currency, we have a different flag, we have a different state recognized internationally. These are not the kind of things we're talking about. Those might be kind of things people might be talking about in the future. But as of today, do not ever equate Simon about with Biafra. These people don't understand what Biafra is, and they are not fighting for Biafra. And the collective interest of the South is, as of today, find a place in Nigeria where they will stay, where they will thrive, and where they will feel adequately contributing to the collective growth of Nigeria. So that is what Biafra means, that wherever any Biafran finds himself or herself, that they are contributing to the peace, the development, or welfare of that place. You find Biafrans in Lagos, you find Biafrans in the north, you find Biafrans in the diaspora, and everywhere they are contributing to the economic prosperity and welfare of wherever they are, while at the same time building back their own personal and collective prosperity.
You mentioned that spirit of the Biafra spirit and all, but then when we look at this situation, people say it behooves elders and leaders of certain regions. If it happens, when the Boko Haram was an issue in the very big issue in the north, many people said, oh, the northern leaders should rise and speak up against this and ensure that their children and their young ones do not continue to get involved with terrorism and all. Now that killings and all of this is happening in the southeast, what are the southeast leaders and southeast elders doing? We have the Southeast Governors Forum that came up with the Ibubago, and the Ibubago now seems to be like one that is also eating up its own. Looking at this situation as a person from the southeast who is passionate about his people, don't you think that it's time for the Southeast people to rise up together in one voice to say all of these senseless killings, all of these agitations need to die now and die once and for all?
Well, there wouldn't have been a problem. We wouldn't be discussing this if we had credible political leadership in the Southeast in the first place. It was their misgovernance and their maladministration and their refraining from, I have always mentioned, when I talk about these things, today we are discussing it on the radio, which is regulated by the NBC. And I've made argument to the NBC saying you cannot criminalize certain discussions. First of all, Nigeria made a great error in trying to criminalize the teaching of history, or by removing teaching of history in our schools. Nigeria has a checkered history, yes, but we must talk Igbo history. Today, there was almost a decriminalization of the word Biafra by our political elite, because these are agitations that are in the hearts of people. People feel sufficiently marginalized in Nigeria. People feel that Nigeria has been giving them the shorter end of the stick. But what happens is that our political leaders play ostrich. They don't want to discuss these issues, because if you discuss the issues, you will be seen as a quote-unquote you want to break away. Talking about Biafra, they don't mean breaking away from Nigeria. They are mutually exclusive terms, right? Or rather, they are not mutually exclusive. You can discuss Biafra within the confines of a federated or agreed unity. Because our political elite fails to, whether at the level of Ohanes and Igbo, whether at the level of the Southeast Governors Forum, whether at the level of Southeast political and religious elite, whether at the level of the Igbo speeches and power unions, because they shied away from discussing these issues, charlatans rose up and started discussing. And for the fact that they are following, will tell you all you need to know about whether or not our people want these issues to be discussed. Now, because the people who are discussing these issues have powers that cannot be regulated. Again, when you are a governor, your powers are regulated by the Constitution. If you are using the police, your power is regulated. But today, because we cannot regulate the activities, or because the people in constituted authority did not discuss these issues, people arrogated authority to themselves. Look at Simon Ekpa, who is, nobody elected him, nobody appointed him to speak for us, where did this thing happen? Can sit in faraway Finland to use Twitter to say that there was a people running the South, and people will aggressively enforce that to the tune of killing people. This is the consequence of political elites not sitting up to their responsibility. If the political elite of the South is as of today, the June 12th is a national holiday. Why can't the Biafra Day on May the 30th become a national holiday? We cannot achieve that using someone about running his mouth. But if the Southeast political elite aggregate these issues and respectfully convince our federal partners to look into some of these issues, then you will not have the rise of charlatans driving the development or driving the agenda for the Southeast. So we have an issue because there was a failed political leadership. And as of today, the political leadership has continued to fail. I agree with you that the Southeast political elite should provide leadership, at least in the first instance, come together to discuss that this issue of insecurity should be done away with. That's number one. And then number two, in the absence of insecurity, can we begin to negotiate some of those things that our people have said that this is their problem? Can we begin to articulate it in a respectful manner? In a manner that we can bring it, because Nigeria is a federal entity. There is no how the Southeast can say this is going on and the whole of Nigeria will agree to it. No, we must make our positions clear and we respectfully communicate those positions to other partners, and we engage them in a civilized manner and have continuous conversations until we get to something that is acceptable to all. But today, our Southeast leaders are not discussing those matters. And in the absence of these discussions, charlatans have risen and have taken over and have said that though there is this lethargy from the political class, I wrote about this 2 or 3 years ago, and I said there is always a reason why, despite the fact that establishment politics is always slow, and sometimes it always misses its direction, but it's always better and infinitely better than populists. Now we have populists or government by populism in Nigeria, in the Southeast, at least the time on the government. Because whether you are this it or not, these people have established themselves as an authority in the Southeast. Not a federal authority, but as an authority who have both the will and the means to enforce their will on the people. As of today, these people cannot be regulated, they are not accounted, nobody knows what their constitution is, nobody knows what their powers are, and any power that cannot be regulated is a dangerous power. And the Southeast have submitted themselves to a power that cannot be regulated. Today we regret that. So what is the way out? The way out is for the people of the Southeast to use the instruments of 2023. Because right now we're talking about federal election. We're talking about a person of the Southeast extraction becoming the president. But even more important is that we should be careful as to the kind of governors we are electing in the Southeast. And we should be careful as to the kind of people we are sending to the Senate from the Southeast. And we should be careful as to against the number of people, the quality of individuals who are sending to the Federal House of Representatives. And even more so, we should be careful as to the quality of individuals we are sending to the state houses of assembly. Because it is the responsibility of these people to articulate whatever the issues are and present its contribution. But if we fail to elect credible people, then we have continued failure in political leadership, and continued failure in political leadership will always give rise to charlatans managing the system. And we have seen that political leadership is not functioning. Even the charlatans that we have entrusted our leadership to is not functioning. Without credible elections, or without the Southeast painstakingly electing credible leaders from top to bottom in 2023, I'm afraid we will continue to have governments of the charlatans that are charlatans and possibly for charlatans.
Very well said. I'm just ask you just one question. What do you make of the fact that people live abroad and they sponsor killings in their country, not just in the country, also sponsor killings of their kinsmen? Because as it is, there seems to be most of the people who are supporting this and fighting and and sending monies. There seems to be people who are contributing monies to those who carry out these dastardly acts back at home. Some of them live abroad; their families are abroad. In fact, the leader of the IPOB movement, as it is, Nnamdi Kanu, lived abroad until he was until he was arrested and brought back home. What do you make of the thinking of the average Easterner who is supporting these kinds of killings, where he has his family, in the Southeast, but then people abroad are the ones who are sponsoring him to kill others who live with him, his neighbors, brothers, and sisters?
I think they are victims of a well-orchestrated and a well-organized propagandist movement, right? Because If you live in the southeast and if you live in Nigeria in the southeast or in any part of Nigeria, you will understand that Nigeria is not working. But the pain gets more painful when you live abroad, when you go to UK, when you go to Ireland, when you go to Dublin, when you go to United States, or when you get to other countries that are doing well. And then you realize that we have all it takes to do well, but we're not doing well, right? We used to leave Nigeria and get into a functional society. By the time you stay for 1 or 2 weeks, you will see that their transportation system is working, healthcare, all the systems are working. And you ask yourself, why is it working? What do they have that we don't have? Nothing. Why is our own not working? So you see that our people who are living outside of Nigeria are frustrated that they see that Nigeria can work, but it is not working. And they tried by supporting candidates, by using establishment politics, and they try to elect support people who they felt when they get into office, they will use the instruments of government to make things work. And they've been doubly disappointed every time. And then came a propagandist movement that lives their ill feelings, that came to say, oh no, the governors are poor, the governors are bastards, the villagers are thieves, all of them are deflated, all of them are criminals, we are the same. And they began to regurgitate the problems, and they painted a picture of an imaginary future. By telling these people, you know what, Nigeria cannot work for you. Why don't you support us? When we get this state of Biafra, then everything will miraculously and magically get well overnight. Well, they got their attention, and some of them started funding those IPOB movements. So who are the biggest sponsors of IPOB? ESM, and Igbos living in the diaspora. And what is the promise that is sold to them? They are sold a fake promise that once you actualize this imaginary state, that all will be well. And then they are said, okay, we have to break a few eggs to make an omelet. Because when they said that one started, some of them complained because some of them actually have businesses in the Southeast. Some of them have hotels and investments in the Southeast that is being run by people on behalf of them. Right? And they were told, oh no, this is a painful exercise. This is one of the little concessions we have to make to get the kind of people we want. Okay, can we get arms? They started arming them. Can we do it at home? They started. So what happens with propaganda is that they will be killing you, but they will be telling you that they are killing you in your own best interest. How can you kill a person in his best interest? So they are wrecking the economy of the Southeast, but they are sweetly telling our people that this is in their best interest. Of course, Southeasterners who live in the Southeast have seen beyond this antic and have seen this continued supporting of this terrorist movement. The people are Southeasterners who live abroad have not seen through these shenanigans and have not seen that this is a deliberate whitewash, that these are lies and continuous misinformation that will achieve no objective. In fact, if we say that the political leadership of the Southeast has failed, the alternate leadership of the Southeast, which I call leadership by charlatans, have even more failed and caused more problems than even the political elite they are fighting. So you have a danger in a terrible situation that has presented itself as the savior. Yes, they are more causing more things and wrecking more havoc than the people they say they are fighting against. So our people in the abroad will have to be reoriented to see that what you have supported in essence is a terrorist movement who have delivered nothing but misery to your people. So if you living abroad and your goal is to find a way to make the Southeast or indeed the whole of Nigeria appear to have semblance of governance and the kind of infrastructure and the kind of dividends others enjoy in the civilized land, if that is your end goal, then I don't see how supporting terrorists will achieve that end goal. If in fact you are achieving anything, you are achieving the opposite result. So this is the message we should take to our brothers and sisters living in the diaspora. I don't want to believe that they have malicious intent. What I see is that they have succumbed to the antics of populists who are killing them, are killing the Southeast, the economy of the Southeast, and literally decapitating heads in the Southeast, all in the name of pursuing an imaginary state. What these people are terrorists, and the earlier we call them out as terrorists and tell our people living abroad and others who might still be here supporting them that this thing they are doing is not in our best interest, then the better for us.
Very well, sir. The conversation continues. We're talking more in a bit, and we'll bring you in. If you've been listening, you can join join the conversation with your 2 cents. Call 090-7353-0044 and 090-8766-8888. We'll take SMS and WhatsApp messages on 090-9705-4450. Don't forget, let's live together as one people, one love on your car.
.3 Abuja.
From Milky Way to Earth, everywhere there's internet, you can connect with Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja. Log on to our website www.eaglesfm.com. Follow and engage with us now on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok at Eagles FM Abuja, Instagram at Eagles FM 1023. Download our apps on your Android and iOS stores. Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, your radio experience you can count on. For so long you've been silenced. We have just found your voice. Take it, use it.
You assess Nigerians before we become politicians or before we become member of any political party. The kind of things that happen in Nigeria, this is so usual that if God looks down from heaven, you realize that we are really paying for our sins.
Speak your truth and be heard on the Eagles Morning Rise, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eagles 102.3 FM, your radio experience you can count on.
Thank you for staying with us on your radio experience. You can count on your Onto Eagles Outlook. And this morning, we're looking at the Southeast and, the killings that we've seen over the weekend on account of a 5-day sit-at-home or stay-at-home issued by the self-styled spokesperson or spokesman of the proscribed group, IPOB, Simon Ekpa, that started on Thursday. Over the weekend, we saw bloodshed and what has been described as a bloodbath. Over 10 people losing their lives in a space of 2 days. It's quite sad. My guest this morning is Christian Chima, who is a good governance advocate and a public affairs commentator. He's joining us. You too can be a part of the conversation this morning. By the way, he's joining us from the south, somewhere in the southeast. You can join in 090-7353-0044 and 090-8766-8888. You can send SMS and WhatsApp messages to 090-9705-4450. Hello, good morning.
I greet you.
Good morning, Sonny the Prince. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. Your guest has spoken well, but I want him to take this back home. You know, when Nandigano started this issue of agitation, some of us saw sense in his agitation. That is really what is happening. When you put it into the field, into government not taking responsibility. And the marginalizing of them was the real. And because of the fact that he was saying, and everything that he's saying is a fact, some of us were like keen into what he's saying, believing that government will call for negotiation and hear them out, and even if you don't do anything, give them a promise. The government did not do that. And not the way Kano was leading these people. There's nothing like destruction of life in the eastern part of the country. There's nothing like killing of people. Even when the federal government took arm against Nnamdi Kanu, they never retaliated. But since they locked him, the whole thing escalated. Because no direction any longer, no leaders any longer, everybody's creating an ownership. So like when the father is not at home, the children would sometimes go astray. You understand? So that was why some of us are agitating that, look, let this guy be released. Because sometimes the issue of this sit at home, Nnamdi Kanu has always told the eastern part of the country that he was not the one who instituted that order. But because no guy, no leader, everyone was like going astray, doing all kinds of things wrong. And that's why a person like Eka, a man from Five precisely, they issued a statement in the southeast. You understand? So what is his interest? What is his interest? How can you say during this period people are looking for money for Christmas, you ask me to sit at home for 5 days? Which you know that Nnamdi Kanu case has been settled. It's just that government want to keep him there so that him and Buhari will finish their tenure. Buhari will be ruling from Aso Rock while he will be ruling from detention.
No, Sunday the Prince. You mentioned earlier that some of these things were not happening before Nnamdi Kanu was arrested, but that's not so. That's not so true because the sit-at-home order was there. There were killings in the southeast even before Nnamdi Kanu was arrested.
No. I didn't agree with you. That let me put it through. Nnamdi Kanu were agitating. Even the government calling them for round-table negotiation, they took war against them. It was really the federal government that escalated these killings because these guys were peacefully demonstrating. And the federal government went against them, start killing them. It's not because Nnamdi Kanu not only escaped, he would have been killed. He never destroyed any government property, he never fight against government. All he was saying, he was talking that things must be done. And you get that right. It was even the government that escalated this insecurity.
I appreciate you calling in. I'm going to have to take another caller now. Thank you very much. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Oh, seems like...
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, once again, it's Abdullahi Mekano.
Abdullahi Mekano, good to have you. Let's hear you quickly.
Thank you, sir. Sir, what I have to say concerning the killings in Southeast is that the people of Southeast are not politically advanced. And they have to change their attitude. Most of them doesn't know the politics of this country. You want to have the president by 2023. You are now agitating that you want to produce the next president. You have to handle the people well, especially the foreigners who are living in your own area, who are living in your own land. You have to give them all priority, protect their lives and the properties. This will enable other people from other regions to recognize you as people that can lead this country. But by the way things are going in that region, the other people of Nigeria may not have confidence to vote for those.
Lost connection with Abdullahi.
Can I come in here?
Yes, please respond to some of these concerns raised.
Let me quickly respond to the second caller, and then I hope that he's tuned in because there is this and I think people don't understand the Southeast, right? Let me ask my brother. For instance, when Boko Haram was terrorizing in the north, and they are still doing that today, they were targeting even the locals and foreigners. By locals, I mean indigenous population, and they were attacking others who were living in the north, including businesses owned by Southeasterners, South-Southerners, and Southwesterners. But we did not frame it as people were killing the Southeasterners. As of today, what is happening in the Southeast is that the Southeasterners are being killed. If you listen to the news, between 2 or 3 days ago and now, about 10 Southeasterners have been killed. So it is not as if there is a region that is killing us. No, that is nothing. So you have to use this platform to educate people that this is a problem faced by the Southeasterners and by extension, anybody living in the Southeast. And if you are living in the Southeast, you are at risk of being cordoned or being attacked by these terrorists. And so, if you happen to be a Westerner, you are not attacked because you are not Westerner. You are attacked because there are terrorists operating in the land. And these terrorists, they kill their people, they kill others. So, it is a terrorist activity. And this is not to say that the Southeast is sponsoring this, because it would be unfair to say that the whole of the North was sponsoring Boko Haram. It would be unfair to say. And that is the same way to be unfair to say that the Southeasterners, I am a Southeasterner, and as of today, I am using a national platform to repudiate the activities of these people, and I'm calling them what they are, terrorists. So you should hear our voices and see that we are having a terrorist speech, and we are inviting the federal government and the state government to come and rout out these terrorists. And then you don't have to say that the Southeasterners are sponsoring terrorists because we are sponsoring terrorists. Then we should go and sort ourselves out that you don't have confidence to vote for somebody from the Southeast. No, that is a nonsensical argument because Boko Haram was there when the whole nation came together and voted Buhari into office. Nobody asked him to go and stop Boko Haram before he's being considered. Right? Today, I thought terrorism is a problem that the federal government has failed to solve. The state government has failed to solve. Let alone talk about the local government. People are crying. Come and help us. There are communities that are beckoning on the government to come and assist them. The federal government is nowhere to be found. So that is the true situation, and I wanted to correct the impression.
Now, Chima, when you say the federal government, yes, very well said. Now, when you say the federal government is nowhere to be found, I recall that the federal government had sent a military to curb this whole situation, smoke out, those referred to as terrorists in the southeast today. But then the southeast people lamented and raised their voices and said, "Oh, the federal government is killing us. They're killing Igbo people. They're killing southeasterners." So at this point, what do we want the federal government to do?
No. That is not the situation, my dear brother. That is not the situation. For instance, there are IDPs in. Let me talk about the Iran incident. When Boko Haram started, there was people who were forcibly ejected from their communities because of insecurity. And people ran to an IDP camp. One of them is the one in Iran. And the one in Iran, the Nigerian Air Force went there and bombed them twice. Nigerian Air Force went to bomb an IDP. After today, no single officer has been publicly prosecuted.
Well, the Air Force said that was an error. That was an error.
And that is the same thing I'm telling you. That the same thing you see that the Nigerian army, nobody is saying that the Nigerian army should not come to the southeast. We are saying be professional in your conduct. For instance, a community will have some skirmishes. A terrorist will come to a community and terrorize the people in that community, and then they will run away. Then the military will come in 2 or 3 hours later and begin to kill all eligible young people from that community. And you call that fighting terrorism? We're saying no. It is the same thing with Nigerian police. That when they see that an accident or an incident happened here, they will not respond at the time the incident will be happening. But after the incident will happen, they will come there and every person they see around the area of incident is a suspect. How can you come to a community that has been terrorized and your only response is to further terrorize them? And when they talk, you say that people are saying the community should not come in. Maybe should come in with precision and take out the terrorists. What will not happen is that you see a community that has been terrorized, and instead of you to painstakingly using intelligence and all the resources available to government to find the terrible people and take them out, whether you kill them or you arrest them and prosecute them as required by law, you instead open fire on a whole community. Who does that? And when people talk, you say, what will the federal government do? The federal government should by all means come in and conduct their affairs in a professional and efficient manner. The same thing, not just in the southeast, everywhere the Nigerian military is deployed, they should adhere to, whether they are deployed in the northeast, whether they are deployed in the northwest, whether they are deployed in the southwest, that they should be professional in their engagement, that they should take lives only when they have satisfied all the rules of engagement. You cannot come and open fire on a community, you cannot come and be arresting young people. The same thing with NSAS. Police will leave criminals, and when the young person comes around, because you are carrying a laptop, they will tag you a criminal and shoot or arrest you. That is the same thing that is happening in the southeast. Now, when there is an incident, any young person you see becomes an automatic, without questioning, you are gone down. And that is not the kind of policing or military activities we want to see. So when we complain about that, that is not to be mistaken for us to be saying that we don't want federal government. We want federal government, but we want them to painstakingly and do their work efficiently and judiciously. And when they do this, the villagers are willing to support them in all their actions.
All right, we'll bring in more calls. More callers 090-7353-0044 and 090-8766-8888. SMS and WhatsApp messages go to 090-9705-4450. Hello, good morning.
Hi, Prince, good morning.
Good morning, Paul. Good to have you. Let's hear you quickly.
Thank you very much. I want to say thank you to your guest because he has actually explained a lot of things, misunderstanding about this Biafra and all these other people he start as miscreants and terrorists. You see, I've always said it that I remain in solidarity with the Southeast in whatever that is happening. Now, when you look at it, when Nigeria tries to say that we are Wazobia, is either the war is enjoying, is either the show is enjoying, and then the beer is left outside. So what kind of all-inclusiveness is that? If you are running a government that is equitable enough to carry everybody along, all this agitation, the Biafra agitation would have even died. because people will feel we belong to the same country that we were fighting to get another get out of, and they all got us together on the same table. And whatever they are doing, we are included in the system. That's why I've said this. You know, people will not understand the pain of being left outside a government or left outside whatever activity that has been done in the country. Now, I'm from the north, and I'll say anytime, any day. The north is in the corridor of power. My own people are left behind. I don't know how to put it. I'm more left behind any other thing than any other people. But I look at it as I'm within the same north, but these people that are from the south, it can't be included for once.
All right, Paul, please wrap it up.
In the leadership position that is being distributed in this country. Now, to the last thing I want to say to people like Sam Onitsha, let them not be given cause to the government to tax whatever agitation or whatever good cause that the Southeast is fighting as terrorism, so that all those things that they are fighting that are good cause will be taxed in terrorism. Sam Onitsha can sit down in Chile and dish out instructions, and then people obey by killing their own, by taking innocent life. Let them understand that even the good book says, all we ask, those innocent lives will cry for justice one day.
All right,
if
Paul.
you finish your people, you get the freedom. Who will live their own rule? Those people that kill their family member, who they write against you that kill their own innocent people?
Thank you very much, Paul.
That can be done without killing.
Appreciate you calling in, Paul. Thank you. Now, Chima, what would be your final thoughts? Looking at the fact that some people, the thinkings, the theories that there might be people from other regions who are sponsoring, this agitation and the killings in the southeast, with the likes of Simon Ekpa giving these kinds of orders, that there might be people who are outside of that region who are sponsoring this, maybe for political gains or for any other reason. In 1 minute, please respond to that as we close.
Well, when you're dealing with insecurity to this magnitude, you don't rule out all options, right? None of all the options should be considered. Simon Ekpa may be sponsored by foreign elements, by the foreign elements who are seeking the opposite direction for the southeast. We don't know who is sponsoring him. But whoever is sponsoring him, we also want to tell ourselves the God honest truth that there are a lot of southeasterners who we are supporting him and who still are supporting him today, right? So there may be some foreign components of his support, but there are other Southeasterners who are still supporting him. And those people who are supporting him should smile and see what is happening, that they are sabotaging the collective interest of the Southeast, and they should withdraw such support from him. And I invite the federal government, not going to adopt him. The federal government has relations with Ireland or wherever this guy lives. The federal government should work within established international law to bring that criminal to justice. Not kidnapping him, not killing him, not shooting his family members, but apply all local and international laws to get the courts to convict this guy, because he is a terrorist. He is living in a state that has a bilateral relationship with Nigeria. So Nigeria should pursue all legal means, because if Nigeria is not careful, they will see him pursuing. For instance, if the government goes and kidnap him now, people will say, oh, Nigeria has kidnapped him, and he will now automatically become a witch-hunted figure. No, apply all the international rules of engagement. Try him fairly in international court, and when he is found guilty, let him be made to face the consequences of his incitement of violence against his own people.
Very well said, Chima Christian, a good governance advocate and public affairs commentator. Thank you so much for your thoughts and time on the program this morning. We really, really appreciate you, and we hope that you just keep safe and be well. Thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you so very much, my dear brother. And then by all this, I want to thank your platform, the Eagles FM in Abuja, for lending your platform to these civilized discussions of topics like this, because some other platforms were shying away from these discussions that will help to enlighten and educate the people. And that is why terrorists took over social media to start misinforming people. Platforms like yours, NBC should sponsor programs like this, should allow programs like this to be aired, where people can come out openly to discuss these issues in a respectful and civilized manner. Because if we don't discuss these issues in the open, then terrorist voices and voices and populists will go in the hustings to be discussing this and misdirecting people on the social media. Thank you so very much once again for the platform.
And it's a good place to drop the anchors on the program this morning. Thank you to everyone who participated. If you're still calling in, and I'm really sorry we can't take any more calls on the program. Our clock is at the ceiling. But tomorrow we'll come back with fresh conversation, and we hope that you'll be there to lend your voice. My name is Ihya Nacho Prince, your Radio Highness of Abuja. Don't forget, keep safe, be well, pray for Nigeria, strive, work hard to ensure that this country gets better. As we go towards the polls in 2023, ensure that you vote the right candidate for this country. Keep it with us on your radio experience. You can count on Business News up next. Right after that, 1023 Extra.
Eagles 102.3 Abuja.